Mark Guggenheim, Salvatore LaRocca, Pepe Perez, Emma Kubert, Justin Mason, and Paul Fry detail the next year in a galaxy far, far away as Darth Vader is given a deadly vision about the near future. Mark Guggenheim gets us ready for the next year or so in Star Wars comics with a special which lays out all of the current canon Star Wars books and where their storylines are at, and how they are going to progress under the Hidden Empire event series Charles Soule is currently running. If you've been following the books, you would already know most of what's going on, but I am very interested in the overall plot Mark lays out here, with something seemingly breaking the Force and the very essence of the Force. Something called the Scourge, and one of its heralds, seemingly this robot called Ajax Sigma, a droid who once led a revolt in the High Republic and is now back for Luke, Leia, and Lando and the other rebellion leaders to deal with. That's a very fun and unique threat for the heroes to contend with. It's not just another Imperial garrison or some sort of Imperial leader we had never seen before, so I appreciate them doing something different for a change. And I also like that there's a personal sort of connection with Luke and the droid, since Luke is so far the only Jedi in existence here, sort of out doing his thing and sort of trying to bring the Jedi back, and Ajax hates Jedi and wants to see them end. And that personal connection they have with each other, which we see a little bit of in this issue, was quite cool. Apart from learning about Ajax, the book doesn't really do anything new or give any new information, but if you want to hop in on the Star Wars comics, you haven't really read them or kind of familiar with what's going on, this is a good jumping on point to kind of catch you up on everything and get you set for the next year. Salvatore LaRocca, Pepe Perez, Emma Kubert, Justin Mason, and Paul Fry pull their talents together for some pretty cool looking artwork, most of which was done through double page spreads, which make up about 80% of the comic. Kubert's work, however, really stood out from the other artists thanks to its more manga, anime inspired style, which didn't really vibe with everything else that was happening in the book, which was a bit more realistic looking. It looked fantastic, I really liked that style and I thought it was quite cool, but just going from Pepe Perez's artwork with Vader and everything into that artwork was a bit of a tonal whiplash. Star Wars Revelations is a great guide for new or returning readers to Star Wars who want to know what's coming up in the comics, but other than that, it doesn't really provide much for people like me who've been reading from the very get-go. I'm going to give this issue a 7 out of 10. Star Wars Revelations finds Darth Vader leaving his Bacta tank on Mustafar to see the Eye of the Webbish Bog, who wonders if he remembers when he last summoned Vader, and the Dark Lord can't resist his call. He asks what Vader sees, and Vader says he sees the being's pain, but caring about it is another matter entirely. Vader sees the handmaidens of Amidala going against him before he sees a potential future, which shows him Sabe donning a set of armor much like his own, becoming a servant of the Empire. The Eye says that the future is always fluid, unlike the past, as Vader sees a moment during the Clone Wars where Anakin Skywalker and Yoda fought alongside each other and their clones against battle droids. Vader wants to know why he was shown this, and why he was shown droids, as the Eye says that the mists are causing him distress, but Vader doesn't care, taking his leave since all he's getting is riddles. The Eye reveals the Scourge is coming, and first it comes for the metal, and then for the muddle. The Eye knows that Vader couldn't possibly understand as the pain clouds it all. He tells him that it all started on Glixon's moon, where a droid called Ajax Sigma is constructed, and it led an insurgency of droids, but the Jedi Knights of the High Republic stopped them, killing Ajax and his insurgency. But his neural core was preserved by a surviving droid, passed down through centuries until it landed in the hands of Han Solo and Chewbacca, who hid it on a jungle world until a droid discovered its location and dug it up, taking the core to Mechas 3 and had Ajax rebuilt. The Eye says that the spark of freedom will grow brighter, while a spark of a different type will be screaming. The Eye talks of the spark eternal, which is now possessing Dr. Aphra. 000 finds the spark being trapped in a human body quite inconvenient, as the possessed Aphra suddenly feels a numbness in her electro tattoos as Aphra begins clawing her way back into control of her body, causing pain against her tormentor. Vader tires of the riddles, flinging his lightsaber at the being, who merely stops it in the air, telling Vader that while he is weakened, he is not weak, and Skywalker must must remember his place. Vader catches the saber as it's flung back at him, telling the being that Anakin Skywalker is dead since he killed him, and he will kill the Eye if he doesn't make his point clear. The Eye says he cannot see what he shows him because he is too impatient and rage-filled, and he cannot know that the Spark Eternal's destiny is entwined with that of the Fermata cage. Vader is shown the future again, this time seeing himself talking with Palpatine, who notices the scar on Vader's helmet. Vader knows it's nothing, learning from his master that Lady Kira of the Crimson Dawn has the Fermata cage, and she will use it, so Vader must find it and bring it to his master, letting nothing stand in his way. Vader tells his master he'll do his bidding, as the Eye shows Vader how he'll talk with Palpatine later on the Executor, learning the Fermata cage was made by the Sith Lord Darth Vader, who also made Vader's fortress on Mustafar. Palpatine reveals that the cage can set people and even places outside of time with its power, and then recall them to the present as if no time passed at all, making it a great threat to them. The Eye wants Vader to see the Eternal Spark and the Fermata cage are connected, and from there, the future grows more distant and diffused, but it's clear as Vader seeks to control events he cannot. Vader sees Lieutenant Hayden telling him that she shot Valance in the face, so he should be dead, and even Vader saw this. Vader reminds her that his skull is made from Durasteel, so he is still alive, and he has become a liability, demanding the woman kill Valance for good this time. He tells her to assign the task to the best trackers the Empire has, wanting Valance brought to ground. Hayden gets to work and assigns Iden Versio and an Inferno squadron to the task of hunting down Valance and kill him. The Eye reminds him that first it will come for the medal, then it will come for the muddle, as on the Edgehawk, Valance seemingly is possessed by something, losing control of himself and shooting Zuckuss and Floor LOM, prompting Bosk to try and take down the seemingly possessed cyborg. Valance easily smashes the Trandoshan away as Tonga confronts him unarmed, telling the man that this isn't like him and he needs to resist whatever is controlling him. The Eye says that it will come for the medal, and then the muddle, and finally the mind, as Luke Skywalker jolts awake on the Millennium Falcon, feeling a disturbance in the Force, comparing it to the one that Ben felt when Alderaan was destroyed and Innocence died. Luke knows that it's close, wanting to go and have a look at the source, so the heroes land on an uncharted moon. Leia finds it odd the moon is uncharted, since a moon of this size would not have gone uncharted for long. Lando thinks that someone erased it from the star charts, as Luke finds an ancient lightsaber buried in the sand, unlike he's ever seen before, and whomever it belonged to, they killed a lot of droids, finding a huge battlefield in front of them. R2 and 3PO note how the only large-scale droid battles were in the Clone Wars, but the droids here aren't separatist droids. Luke knows that this wasn't the massacre he sensed, heading deeper into the field where they find a huge homesteader ship. Inside they find all of the crew have been slaughtered. The heroes figure the homesteaders thought this moon was abandoned, but soon discovered it wasn't. R2 plugs into the ship's systems and discovers they are on what is called Clixon's moon. Luke knows the slaughter happened recently, and whomever did it could still be there. The heroes split up to search, and soon Luke is met by Ajax Sigma, who says that he has killed the people because they tried to kill him when he returned there to retrieve something he needed. Luke doesn't think this looks like self-defense, like the robot claims, and Ajax doesn't think he would to a human. Luke readies his lightsaber, wanting to take the droid in to answer for his crimes, but Ajax attacks, refusing to answer to organics. Ajax learns that Luke is a Jedi, finding his dream of killing one can still happen, since he thought they were all extinct. Luke knows that they are still around, slashing the droid, who decides he's now outgunned, diving into an escape pod nearby and blasting off from the ship. The Eye knows that this is only the beginning of the end, as Vader demands that he give him no more riddles, and the Eye says that these visions are warnings of the end of the Force, then the end of everything, and he has been trying to show him the pain that clouds his mind. Vader can see a canister above them that is infecting the mists of the area, knowing someone has poisoned the Eye to draw Vader to him. Mustafarian assassins appear, attacking Vader, but he cuts them down as if they are nothing. One manages to cut Vader's helmet, just like in the vision he had, as the being says that this is their world and he isn't welcome. Vader thinks that they will be familiar with the lava then, dumping the man into the burning river. The Eye asks if he can see now, and Vader says his time was wasted with puzzles. The Eye says that they were warnings, but Vader wonders why he should be compelled to stop these events. The Eye tells him that the Scourge comes for the entire galaxy, and even Darth Vader, Dark Lord of the Sith, is part of the galaxy, and if he cannot see that, he cannot be helped. Later on, Vader is met by his master in hologram, who tells him that Lady Kira and the Famata cage have been used, just like he saw in the vision, but Vader does nothing to change what happens, telling his master he'll take the cage and kill anyone in his way.